business as usual is over. And that's clear by the fact that we're meeting virtually today. This coronavirus, this has just disrupted lives and livelihoods. It certainly has upended the day-to-day realities of how we all conduct business. We can no longer take things like face-to-face meetings, handshakes, or frankly, even the opportunity to make deals while breaking bread for granted. But far more than that, we can no longer take for granted the wider range of social supports and systems that have helped the private sector, where I belong, along the way, from the child care that allows our employers to focus on work for a few hours each day, to the educational systems that develop our next generation of leaders at pace and with great depth, or to the small businesses that are collectively the world's largest employer and contribute to life in a million different ways, or to the trade routes that move medical supplies from one point of the world to another, and the trade relations that smooth and speed their way, and so much more. What the pandemic has shown us is that our lives are deeply interconnected. What affects one impacts us all. It has also laid bare painful truths about just how vulnerable we really are when it comes to social inequalities, or when it comes to climate change, or when it comes to economic exclusion. So when I say to you, business as usual is over, what I'm really saying is that we cannot go back to the way things were. We cannot go back to the time when we saw these fragilities on the horizon. And we either said, oh, wouldn't it be nice if we could help out with that? Or worse, we looked away because we thought they didn't have anything to do with us or our businesses. The truth is, they have everything to do with our businesses because they impact people. As leaders, it is incumbent upon us to strike the right balance in a triangle of considerations. So let me lay out that triangle. On one side, there's one versus many. This is about how we act inclusively. On the other side, there's humanity versus nature. This is about how we address ecological issues. And at the foundation of the triangle is the ultimate question of long-term versus short-term. Now that is about how we put the incentives for action and possible impacts into perspective. And that perspective is everything. If we continue to treat people differently based on their race, their heritage, their gender, or how they express themselves, what are we doing actually? We're just hobbling ourselves. If we continue to erode the health of the planet, we're going to be endangering our own health. If we continue to allow people to get left out of the economic engines we are building, then we're moving forward with a half-empty fuel tank. We're not going to get very far. In the aftermath of World War I, and at the height of another global pandemic, the International Chamber of Commerce was founded with the conviction that commerce could be an enabler of global peace and global prosperity. So 100 years later, I stand before you as the ICC chair as we discuss how the private sector's bias for commercially sustainable solutions can contribute to the sustainability and growth of everyone. We can be merchants of peace and prosperity because we have, within the mechanisms of commerce, the ability to unleash the forces of innovation, of creation, and frankly, drive solutions with both business and social impact. Now, for the private sector to help the world to build back better in the months and years to come, I believe that we really need to do three things. The first one is to lean into our interconnectivity. Our partnerships, our collaborations, they make us all stronger, they make us more resilient. They offer us the chance to bring our strengths together. They offer us the chance to create a whole greater than the sum of its parts. Even at a time when nationalism and nativism threaten to isolate willing partners, there are examples of public and private organizations coming together to help out in this time of crisis. like the ICC's collaboration with the World Health Organization, with UNICEF, with the UN Regional Economic Commissions, and numerous international partners to distribute workplace health and safety guidance through our network of 45 million businesses worldwide. Or like MasterCard's partnership with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and the Wellcome Trust, which launched with $125 million in funding from the founding partners to accelerate the COVID-19 response by identifying, assessing, developing, and scaling up therapeutics. Now, these efforts represent a new spirit of international cooperation, one that is built on mutual trust, respect, and most importantly, collective responsibility. Now, imagine what we could do if we combined forces and make progress in the spaces of debt, emergency financing, access to vaccines and treatments, just as a few examples. So now let me give you the second example, the second point. Make the digital economy work for everyone, everywhere. Access to the digital economy is no longer a nice to have. It is a necessity. To be clear, a resilient rebuild aligned with the Sustainable Development Goals will only be achievable if we can close the gap between those who have access to digital technologies and the opportunities that come with them and those who do not. I think we all agree we must close the digital divide, but we have to do it in a way that prioritizes people's right to control their data and uses their data responsibly. So the first step is to build and provide the digital infrastructure, as well as the tools and the capacity to use it. But the next steps, however, are equally important. We need to create a universal identity mechanism so that we can ensure globally interoperable services and data. We can redefine the rules for cybersecurity to create the combinatory effect of layered defenses. And we need to develop policy and regulations that provide the guide rails to support innovation and collaboration. So in the next 2 or 3 years, the continued deployment of 5G, the proliferation of IoT, the expansion of cloud and edge technology, and the explosion of AI will have amazing and tremendous impact on the ways we conduct business, on the way we educate our youth, on the way we secure our borders, physical and virtual, on the way we develop healthcare. But we can't have an internet of everything without the inclusion of everyone. And we will not achieve that unless we work together to build the system, foster use, offer access, protect it, and the people using it, and support its growth with a principled approach to data usage. So now on to the third point, deliver on the decade of action together. So today's CEOs have made commitments to reverse the harmful effects of climate change while limiting further impacts on our environment. We've made commitments to deliver opportunities for meaningful livelihoods and to drive sustainable economic growth. But delivering on these commitments is up to all of us. Government and civil society leaders, young people, employees, and families, not just to hold businesses to account, but to do our part, to put our shoulder to the wheel, to build lasting pathways for achieving those aims. The UN's decade of action will be shaped by the quality of the partnerships we develop and by the systems we create to enable a recovery that places resilience at its core. My hope is that we can build a new business as usual, where collaboration and trust are the expectation, not the exception. If we are true to our conviction in the SDGs, but also our commitment to those SDGs, then there is not a moment for us to lose in charting this course. Your Excellency, the Deputy Secretary General, know that businesses and the International Chamber of Commerce are ready to lead from the front lines. We're looking forward to what we're able to achieve together in the years to come. Thank you very much.